Hey guys, Spud here, and today we are taking a look at attacking moving targets utilizing the GMT mode of your air-to-ground radar in conjunction with your targeting pod. Now, this was a topic that vexed a number of players in my latest Sunday mission, so I figured it would be a great thing for us to jump in the cockpit together to take a look at. Now, this is a very complex thing to do. You have to fly your jet, as well as juggle a few different sensors and your weapons all at the same time, while keeping your situational awareness up as to where the target actually is and any threats that may be around you, AAA, SAMs, MiGs, etc. So it's understandable this can be a very difficult topic, but with some practice, I think you guys will get the hang of it in no time. We are using the A-18C for today's tutorial and demonstration, because statistically that's what most of you guys out there are flying, and that's what the guys in the mission that struggled with this a little bit were also flying as well. So let's hop in the cockpit and get started. Alright guys, welcome back to the office of the A-18C Hornet over the beautiful mountains of the Afghanistan map. And we'll go ahead and jump right on in for our topic today. Finding and attacking moving targets utilizing the GMT mode of our air-to-ground radar in conjunction with our targeting pod. So let's get started by first setting up our cockpit for getting some warheads onto foreheads. We'll come down to the master mode buttons on the left side of the instrument panel, and we'll select air-to-ground master mode. And on the now auto-populated stores page on the left DDI, we'll set up our munitions for today. For our GBU-38s, we're going to bring the mode over to target of opportunity mode, and our E-fuse to instantaneous. And for our LMAV, we'll set a laser code of the default 1688 to make things simple and easy for us. Now, you might be wondering, Spud, why do we have JDAMs on our Hornet today if we're going to be attacking some moving targets? And the answer to that is pretty simple. For a SCAR or close air support tasking, a really good loadout to carry is an LMAV with a couple of JDAMs. So that way we can attack and destroy the lead vehicle and the convoy out in front of us here using the forward-firing powered LMAV, and then re-attack quickly and precisely with a couple of JDAMs on the now stopped convoy. So we'll open up the LMAV display and move over to the right DDI, which is now auto-populated with the air-to-ground radar. Now, first thing we need to do is take control of our right-hand DDI by going sensor control switch right. We know we have this accomplished when we can see our radar cursor, and of course when we have the little diamond in the top right of the display. We'll bring our air-to-ground radar over to GMT or ground moving target mode. Please keep in mind that any switchology and anything we talk about here today applies just the same for C mode if you're going to be attacking ships on the surface of the ocean. So we'll go on back to GMT mode here. We've got control of our air-to-ground radar, and we'll push the range of our radar display out to 40 nautical miles. And we can see that we already have a moving target on our radar display here. Now, I believe the source of the frustration for a lot of players out there when trying to attack a moving target is getting confused between a radar track of that moving target and creating a SPI on top of the target. If we were to say put our radar cursor on top of this moving convoy here and hit TDC depress, like you would to say lock a air-to-air target with an air-to-air radar mode, you would create a SPI or sensor point of interest denoted by this little cross symbol here on our display and by this diamond in the field of view of our HUD out in front of us at roughly our 12 o'clock here. Now, what this is just a geographical point on the ground where all of our sensors are now slaved to. We are not actually tracking that moving target. While creating a SPI in the vicinity of, say, a moving convoy can be a very valid way to find and attack that convoy it can be a little bit more difficult because we're now going to have to open up our TPOD page and then manually find that convoy visually using the targeting pod, get a point track on the lead vehicle, and then attack it. However, a much easier way to attack this convoy is to actually create a radar track on this moving target moving across the ground here. So we'll unpause it here and we'll use the undesignate button to get rid of that SPI. We'll keep our radar cursor on top of this moving target and we'll go sensor control switch to the right. Please keep in mind that if you had your air-to-ground or C air-to-ground radar mode display up on the right DDI, you want to hit sensor control switch right. If it was on your MPCD, you want to hit sensor control switch down. And same for the left DDI, you'd want to hit sensor control switch left. Now, like I said earlier, this initiates a radar track of that moving target and gives us a little bit more information about that target moving across the ground. We can see he's moving at roughly about 7 knots, and he's currently at a heading of 206 degrees. Now, this additional information can be very useful for, say, correlating targets between yourself and a JTAC, yourself and a wingman, or yourself and a JSTAR, or any other agency that's out there. You can kind of think of this as being a single target track, but on a ground target. And because we're not going to be able to see any other information about any other moving targets when we have a radar track on this target here. So let's go ahead and unpause it here. And at this point, as we're flying out towards our target, if we were to say lose line of sight with this convoy, they get behind some trees or a building or a hill, the aircraft would automatically create a SPI on top of the last known position of this radar contact, allowing you to use your targeting pod to visually reacquire the target. However, we have a track on this target, so let's go ahead and open up our TPOD page. And with a radar lock on that convoy, our TPOD is automatically slaved to that convoy. Zooming in the pod as far as we can here, we can see that our radar is tracking this lead vehicle in the convoy across the ground, and we don't have to do anything. However, it's important to note that when we take control of our TPOD page here, this will break the radar lock of that lead vehicle in the convoy, and we'll have to initiate a point track with our targeting pod. So let's go ahead and do that now. Sensor control switch right. We can see the TPOD is no longer tracking because the radar is no longer tracking, and we have to initiate a point track on that lead vehicle. In order to facilitate this, let's go ahead and increase the contrast here, and we'll go sensor control switch right to initiate that point track. Sometimes it can take a couple of tries in order to get that point track initiated, but once you do, it should stay for you. There we go. And there's our point track on the lead vehicle in the convoy. So now all we got to do is just hit it with our LMAV and then reattack with our 2 JDAMs. So let's go ahead and zoom on out here. We've already got our LMAV all set up and ready to rock and roll. Now we just need to arm our laser and box trig on our targeting pod page. So laser is now armed. We'll go ahead and box trigger. We'll kick the autopilot off and we'll enter into a shallow dive here. There's no need to point your nose directly at the target when attacking with an LMAV. You just want to ensure that the target denoted by the X here on the LMAV display is somewhere within your scope. We're in range. Let's go ahead and squeeze the trigger to fire the laser. We have a valid lock with our LMAV. We'll ensure that we have master arm turned on. That's an oopsie there. And we'll fire the weapon. We'll pull off the target. And we'll wait for the weapon impact. We'll make sure we keep an eye on our TPOD page here, because if we lose the point track, we can always re-track that lead vehicle manually using our TDC if required. We'll zoom the pod out a little bit here. And impact. Nice shot. That looks like a good shack. We'll zoom the pod out so we can keep track of where the vehicles are going. Looks like they're scattering around. We'll build up a little bit of separation and we'll re-attack with our JDAMs. Alright, there's our two JDAMs. We'll circle around to the left-hand side. Using our HMD, we can keep our SA as to where those targets are. Right along the side of a little creek, just to the southwest of a little town there. Gain a little bit of altitude here, and let's unmask our targeting pod. Back to area track. We'll zoom our pod in on one of these tanks. And that looks like a perfect setup for a quick and easy re-attack. We'll roll in on our target. Going to hit TDC depress one more time to ensure that we have that tank set for our target of opportunity mode shot with our JDAM. One weapon away. TDC depress. Two weapons away. And we'll keep our targeting pod on top of our two tanks here, so that way we can get some good BDA and see our shacks. One. And there's the second impact. Looks like we got two good shacks. We can see there was quite a delay there between the weapons impacting, and the first weapon I dropped was the second weapon to impact, and the second weapon I dropped was the first weapon to impact, because we dropped them from two different ranges, and the JDAMs picked two different flight profiles to ensure that they could hit their targets. So I hope this video helped cleared up some misconceptions about attacking moving targets when utilizing GMT mode in conjunction with a targeting pod here in the FA-18, and the principles we talked about today apply just as much to other aircraft in DCS, such as the F-16C or the F-15E Strike Eagle. So I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Please fly safe out there, guys, and enjoy this beautiful game.